And now,
Okay, welcome, Rotarians and visitors, to the Rotary Club of London's meeting on Monday, July the 13th.
still June.
Yeah, good catch there, Swanee. As you all remember, the last time I had to sit in the president's chair and chair the meeting, our sergeant at arms that year was none other than our current mayor, the Honorable Ed Holder, and he used to ding me big time for all of the little slip ups I made. So I'm not expecting that our sergeant at arms over the course of next year is going to be a lot different in terms of how they treat me on the sergeant at arms finding level. Any event, I'm the president-elect of the club, and our current president, Don Bork, is in transit right now from Mexico. In fact, they're on their way to the airport as we speak. So I've been asked to chair the meeting for today. I'm very ably assisted by past President Harry Houston, who is running the technical side of our meeting. And I will be responsible for being the talking head, so to speak. So before we have our guest speakers introduced, or guest speaker, I'm going to ask and welcome any guests to our meeting today. And I believe we have a visiting Rotarian, Henry Verger, who had asked for him to just briefly introduce himself to the club.
Thank you very much, Rick. I'm a visiting Rotarian, and from the London Hyde Park Club. So I've periodically sat in on the downtown meetings. I enjoy them. And this is just yet another meeting that I'm sitting in on.
Well, welcome to our club. We're delighted to have you, Henry. I don't know if there's any other guests that we have, but maybe if between now and when we get to announcements, any more show up, I'll get them to introduce themselves. Now I'd like to invite past RI director, past PDG, and a wonderful member of our club, John Eberhardt, to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, President-elect Rick. And I'm delighted to introduce our speakers today. At our breakout session earlier, it was clear that many of our club will be familiar with our club's connection to the Easter Seal Society. But for those who are not, perhaps a little background information may be of interest. It's interesting to know that the formation of the Easter Seals Ontario can be traced back to November of 1922, when representatives from 7 Rotary clubs, including the Rotary Club of London, met in Windsor to discuss the support for children with physical disabilities. They recognized a need for action, and they formed the Ontario Society for Crippled Children. Our club forged relationships with hospitals and people with disabilities in this area to ensure vital services went to those who needed it, regardless of their financial ability. The society was patterned after the American Society for Crippled Children, and we had received the go-ahead from Daddy Allen, a past district governor from Ohio, who had been appointed by Paul Harris to be the chair of the National Society for Crippled Children in the USA. So we followed Paul Harris's lead. Here, the name was changed to the Easter Seal Society in the 1990s. Easter Seal's early goals, as we all will know, focused on the devastating polio outbreak of about that time. The same year, Easter Seals opened the first Canadian camp for children with physical disabilities. 55% of the children who attended that summer had polio. Well, our club was what was called a contract club within the governance structure of the Ontario Society, and we had a number of responsibilities as a lead club in southwestern Ontario. We engaged, for example, the regional nursing staff, and we received their monthly reports, and we acted on them by doing home repairs. We did installing of wheelchair ramps and other things for the kids. We purchased equipment and prosthetics for our caseload, as it was called. We ran the regional corporate mail campaign. Many will remember our stuffing bees, where the club, our spouses and friends gathered to prepare for the annual fundraising mailing. We did a campership fundraising appeal, which helped to pay for the camperships of the kids who would be coming to camp that summer. We ran a telethon in partnership with CFPL TV. Jim Swan will remember that. It was launched in the 1980s and it ran for about 10 years. We organized the annual Sportsman's Dinner, and we hosted a Christmas dinner for the kids where Santa was a big hit. We prepared our Wood Eden camp for opening in the spring, and we looked after many of the rentals, such as the Rotaract and Youth Exchange programs that still operate there today. Well, by the 1980s, our club was raising between $500,000 and $700,000 a year for Easter seals. Half of those funds under our contact were spent locally here. Our club was very much involved in the leadership of the society. Both Doug Parnell and I served for many years on the executive of the provincial board, and we were appointed from Toronto as the Wood Eden Camp chairman. Our own club past president, Brigadier General Alex McIntosh, served as president of the Ontario Society. He's the only person, to my knowledge, who served in that capacity twice. Our Rotary Club of London involvement at Wood Eden's camp operation ended in 2002 when the Easter Seal Society moved to a new corporate governance model, but the club is still active, as we all know, in providing support to children with disabilities through other avenues. One of those is the ongoing partnership between the Rotary Club of London and the Thames Valley Children's Centre. It was established by our club in 1949 as the London and District Crippled Children's Treatment Centre. Well, the camp itself was made possible because of our club. Our club had a member by the name of Claire Wood. His estate near Kilworth was acquired by the Society in 1945. The 110 acres of land included a magnificent estate home known as Wood Home. It was transferred to the Ontario Society for Crippled Children for a fraction of its value. The Rotary Club of London took on a large part of the responsibility for raising about $100,000 to cover the initial cost of converting the property for camp use, and those initial improvements included constructing sleeping cabins for the campers. On June 26, 1946, Wood Eden Camp began its many years of service to children with disabilities. Our club converted the property into a much-needed regional polio treatment center at that time, and during its early years, Wood Eden opened solely as a summer camp, but it later expanded the operation to include a winter facility focused on specializing care and treatment for children suffering with cerebral palsy. For many years, the camp operated by a committee of our Rotary Club in cooperation with Easter Seals Ontario, and our club contributed a new swimming pool in 1955. In 1977, our club membership planted the spruce forest that was named the Kilbourne Woods after the then long-term superintendent of the camp. We built a new workshop and a laundry facility in 1979, and we constructed asphalt pathways throughout the camp property. We contracted and built a new $2.5 million dining dormitory facility in 1985, and many, many Rotarians over the years participated actively at the camp or on the camp committee until 2002. Many are still members of the club here today, and many are here today because of the camp and our association with Easter Seals. We cherish the memories of Rotarians with their families and friends who held annual dinner picnics at the camp with the children. So Wood Eden continues to offer life-changing programs that allow children and youth with disabilities the opportunity to experience freedom and independence and a sense of accomplishment in so many ways. And today we are going to hear a lot more about the current operations of the camp. Our speakers today are Stacey Law. Stacey is a development officer and administrator at Easter Seals Ontario, and Howard Botton. He's the site manager at Wood Eden Camp. Well, Stacey's been with Easter Seal for about 15 years and Howard for about 10 years, and they're going to bring us up to date on current and future activities at Wood Eden, and perhaps some information about how Easter Seals will celebrate its 100th anniversary this coming November. Welcome, Stacey and Howard. Take it away.
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me. My trusty sidekick, Howard, is he's just in training right now, so he's hoping to hop on this call shortly, if possible. Again, John mentioned a lot of the relationships that we've had with the Rotaries, and we're really excited that this year we're going to be celebrating our 100th anniversary on November 28th, and it's 100 years of helping kids with physical disabilities and their families. That would have only ever happened without the Rotary, because you established the groundwork of what Easter Seals has become today and what we're able to provide the kids and families. So as I mentioned, it's 100 years this year, and we are fully funded by public donations. We raise those monies through service clubs like yourselves, events, regular donations, And we also have lots of volunteer opportunities out here. I found this picture actually just the other day, and I thought it would be fun to kind of add to the slideshow because this was the vehicle at camp that was donated by the Rotary Club of London. And so who we serve, so there are 20,000, there's probably a lot more than 20,000, but on average 20,000 kids across Ontario that have a physical disability. It can cost up to an additional $40,000 every year. And unfortunately, because one parent normally has to stay home to care for the child, their income for their family is usually between $40,000 and $50,000. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little idea about kind of what the cost is now, just to see. So power wheelchairs, you see people in power wheelchairs and you know they're expensive, and the technology has come so far. You can have a power wheelchair that is only movement by someone's head, and then the thing that people don't realize is that a power wheelchair, because of the child growing and their needs, has to be they need a new one every about 5 years. So it has to be replaced about every 5 years. And so if you think between $10,000 and $20,000 every 5 years, how that cost can add up. Just a manual wheelchair can be anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000. Leg splints, walkers, and we don't only have equipment for children, we also do modifications to vans, homes with tracks and elevators, ramps to their homes to make them accessible, car seats, standers, and then making their bathrooms adaptable with commodes and shower lifts. So those are just some of the pieces of equipment that Easter Seals helps to fund for children. The exciting part for Easter Seals is obviously Easter Seals Camp, and that is a very large part of what the Rotary has done for Easter Seals, and we are able to continue to grow it. But to send a kid to camp, it's usually about $2,500 a week. So Camp Wood Eden, which is obviously, this is where I'm located, so it's this one's a little bit more near and dear to my heart because that's where my office is. So I get to spend the days with the kids, and I get to see all of the great things that Easter Seals has done for the kids. So just to bring up some pictures, I'm not sure if everybody, I know that you're all part of the history, but if you haven't seen some of these buildings, this is the second original stone house. The first one burnt down. So this one was built in 1930, and it's all concrete walls. And I would really love if you guys came out to camp because everything is just so much better to see in person. So at the bottom, we have our rec center. To the left is our recreation center. And that's where we house, there's about 24 counselors that stay in there. And that's also where our life skills kitchen is. And our life skills program, what they do in that program is they teach them to cook, they teach them how to make a resume, they teach them how to go on a bus route. And then down at the bottom on the right-hand side, that's our gym. So there we also have our rock wall, our gym, and the back doors actually open into an amphitheater, and that is where they do their talent shows. So they get to show off their skills. And what we always like to say is, hold on a sec. So is where they get to show off their skills, and they know that people are there watching them for the right reasons and not looking at them because they're in a chair or they have a walker. They know that they're not being looked at because of their disability. We don't like to at camp, we don't like to say there's a disability at camp. We only say there's a level of ability. So just some more pictures. This is where we do a lot of our banquets. So this is where the kids, it's the last night of camp and they get to get all dressed up and gussied up and get to go to a dance and have lots of fun at their banquet. And this is the dining hall, which I mentioned, which was built in 1985. And the dining hall has 5 pods as well for campers and counselors. There's 8 campers and 6 counselors in each pod. And then we also have all of our meals here. And this is also where they do their flagpole every morning. So first thing they get up in the morning, they all meet at the flagpole, they do the Wood Eden song, and they learn sign language every morning. And then what happens is they go on to the programmings, and the way that they choose their programs is through, it's called Sell the Sizzle. So it's just a program that we have out here where the counselors get to get all dressed up and act goofy, and they try to sell their program because we have so many different programs for them to choose. So that's what they do first thing in the morning. And this is the original tea house that we have restored through Steve Plunkett, actually. And it is now accessible for the kids to go in, and we're using it as a museum. So if you guys have any really interesting things from the Rotary back then, we'd love to add them to our museum. And this is the tree house, and this was also donated by a service club. And this is where the kids come out and they're able to kind of just relax on their downtime. It oversees the Thames River, and it's a really beautiful spot, especially in the fall. So this is a place where, you know, sometimes they'll even bring the kids out and take them out of their chairs, let them lie on the mattresses, and then they just get to just lie out there and just relax. We also have another camp, which is up in Perth, Ontario. So Easter Seals Wood Eden is more of a sports-related camp, whereas Camp Marywood, which is near Ottawa, it is on the water. So it's more of a water sports camp. So just some of the programs that we have, for those that don't know. So up at Marywood, we have a sailing program. So just imagine trying to get all these kids out there in the boats and whatnot, and they just get to go out and experience the water and nature, and they get to do all that fun stuff. And then at Camp Wood Eden, these are just some of our exciting programs that we have. So we have the high ropes course, which we have 4 elements up there that are actually able to take a wheelchair. So we also have a program, and we call it Challenge by Choice. So basically what it is you choose, say if you're choosing to go on the high ropes course. So yes, I want to go on the high ropes course. And then you get there and you're like, you know, maybe I'm just not ready. I've got my helmet on, but I'm not ready to go. So then you just sit there and you watch for that day. And then you get to come back, and then you get to, maybe you'll get up on the course, but you might not go anywhere. So we don't push anyone to do any one activity. We want them to reach success on their own. So it's just giving them the opportunity to try something new. Now, everything at Camp Wood Eden is accessible. And I am so sorry. Excuse me. Every activity is adaptable to every child, except for the swing. And the only reason the swing is not able to be with everyone is because of the rods in the children's backs. So it's just not safe because it would jolt them. So one of my favorite programs is the music and drama, because you get to see the kids come out and show off all their talents, and you know, they do some plays, and then they take, a lot of the times they will bring that to the talent show. We have our sports and games. So we've got sledge hockey, which we now have sunshade sails. So it gives them a nice place to go. If it's too hot, now they're at least covered. And we were very fortunate because We Care donated those to us back in 2017. We also have the rock wall, which is down in our gym, and it's quite the experience for the kids. And that's another thing that we call Challenge by Choice, because as you can see in the picture, some of the kids are able to get up the wall, and they're able to get up, and we have an easy button. And so we want them to climb up that wall. We want them to hit that button just so they have that, so they can do that. But then you can also see that there's a child in a sling. So he or she may not be able to get up there, but we'll get them hoisted up there, and their success is just touching the wall. They may not be the one climbing the wall, but they're getting that experience as well. And it's the same with the archery. As you can see, this is Jordan, and he was one of my favorites years and years ago. He such a sweet boy. And as you can see, he isn't able to pull that arrow on his own, but he's still getting the experience and that feeling that he's been able to do that. These are just a few more fun pictures of our sports. And like I said, our life skills, we do all sorts of stuff. There's baking, there's trust exercises. Resumes is one that I found really interesting. They actually did practice. I was listening to them out my hallway. They were doing practice interviews. And pretty much everyone's favorite is the pool. And pool is heated, and that's so the kids, their joints don't seize up. We do have 3 different ways to get into the pool. And right now we're really excited because the police, the London Canine Police, they just did a fundraiser for us this year with their 50th anniversary calendars. And they've purchased sunshade sails to go over the pool to keep the kids cool when they're not in the pool. Arts and crafts and pottery, they do all sorts of fun stuff here. We have kilns on site, and so the kids are able to take their masterpieces home with them. I always like to make sure that we point out the counselors because I don't think they get anywhere near enough credit. So the counselors, they're encouraging, they're helpful, compassionate, always fun, very wacky people some days. And they really make the kids' time here really, really special. And who benefits? I mean, it's all about the smiles. And for me, I love seeing the kids. I don't like missing coming to work when it's camp days because you get to see the kids and you get to see exactly what you're doing and who you're doing it for. All you have to do is see them out here and you know that this is their magical place. And they call it their Disneyland. And that's one kid described that to me once. And he's like, this is my Disneyland. Like, this is my place to come where I'm not different than anybody else. So they feel so at home when they're here. Believe me, they definitely own this place because you get out of their way when they're on a mission. So just at camp, just something that's really exciting for this year. So we always have done camp from the age of 6 to 18. And that's discovery camp. So for the younger kids that just want to try it out, they're not really too sure, if they're ready to come to camp. The parents aren't really not sure if they want it. They send their kids to camp for 10 days. And then from age 8 to 18, they can do 10-day sessions. And then we also have our leadership programs, our Gear Up programs. And then this year is a brand new program, and it is for our Voyagers. It's called Voyager Camp, and it's for our campers, that are 19 to 32 years old. And this is something we've never done before because I actually just had a tour out here about 2 weeks ago, and it was a camper that was 45 years old, and he's even asking to have camps come back. So it really just goes to prove what a difference camp has made for them and how it's changed their lives. Now, I do have one video if I'm allowed to share it with you, just because it's a lot more exciting than probably listening to me talk.
You're good.
I feel like new sunglasses, like a brand new pair of jeans. I feel like taking chances. I feel a lot like 17. I feel like windows roll down new city streets and I feel like anything can happen. Life and you take me right back to me. Like when I close my eyes and don't even care if anyone sees me dance. Like I can fly and you don't even care to touch it. Like I want to skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip, but it never plays. It's the way I feel, I'm with you. Brand new. I feel like a young John Cusack, like making big mistakes. I feel like for the first time in Never thought it feels like this. I couldn't close my eyes and not even care if anyone sees me inside. But I can't cry and don't even think it's hard to brand new. Always try and make up for this time. You remind me what I used to. Like when I close my eyes and don't even care if anyone sees me dancing. Like I am and you don't even think you're touching the ground. Like a heartbeat skip, like an open gate, like a one-way trip on an aeroplane. Swear brand new.
So for me, that video, honestly, that gets me in the feels every time. I've probably watched that video about 5,000 times, and I actually get teary every single time I watch it. So, but their smiles say it all, and like you guys started that. You know what I mean? Like that's something to be so proud of, and it's allowed us to be able to keep growing on your vision. So, thank you.
We do have time for some questions, Stacey. If there's any questions, Rotarians, just use the raised hand function at the bottom of your screen, and we'll. Oh, Diane! I see Diane's got a.
Thank you.
question.
Hi, Stacey.
Hi.
That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you. I just have a question, and I might have missed it along the way, but are the camps just for children, or is there an age limit, or?
So yeah, no, we have different programs. So our youngest that come out here are 6, and that's the Discovery Camp. Then we also have the 10-day sessions, which are for children 8 to 18. We're doing the Voyager Camp this year, which is 19 to 32. And then we also have a family camp. So for families that, I mean, there are some children that need care, like with trachs and whatnot, that we don't have that care for them. So the families are still able to come out with their kids because maybe they're just not ready yet to send their kids off to camp, or maybe the children need more care, but we do also have family camps as well.
Okay, any other questions?
Stacey, just really a good update that you provided us. I love the pictures and the video. Really compelling stuff. You mentioned the tea house, and I'm glad to hear that you're using it as an interpretive museum. You may recall that during our centennial, 2015, we had a lot of articles and chattels from the camp out at the Fanshawe Pioneer Village, and that they were on display for about a year almost, maybe more. And I know that one of them was the recognition brass plaque.
Yep, that is it here.
I noticed that it's no longer on the dining room. Is it in the?
That was because they painted it. They were doing painting, so they need to put it back up. They had to have it put back up because they had the whole dining hall and everything has all been painted. So we had to take everything down to paint.
Okay, so it's up now, is it?
I believe that's what Howard has it up. Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Secondly, just before we left our responsibilities at the camp, we were working with the UTRCA, the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority for permissions to build a canoeing facility at the bottom of the hill. You may recall when we built that 1985 building, the dining hall, we actually used the fill that came from the excavation to make a switchback path down to the river. And at the point where that joined the river, there was a low area, and most of the time it's flooded, but it needed access to the river itself. So we had in mind to get approvals to open that up for canoeing purposes. Up until that time, we took the kids over to Sharon Lake and they canoed there. I know that Marywood has a really good canoeing program, which is wonderful. I'm just wondering, A, are you still using Sharon? And B, has there been any follow-up with UTRCA in developing that canoe area at the bottom of the switchback path on the river?
I'll be honest, I have never been on that path down there, but that's something that would be more the camp director's side of things to know. Unfortunately, I don't have that answer for you, sorry, but I can look into that.
I should add, Stacey, that our club really enjoyed our summer gatherings with the kids, and you mentioned yourself being on site. You're able to enjoy many of the interactions that we used to have. Is there any possibility of that happening again? And is there any update that you can bring us on the 100th anniversary of our club's involvement with the Easter Seal Society?
Right. So as I'd mentioned, we are doing a celebration out here, and it would be lovely if you guys were able to make it. It's going to be on September 17th, and we're doing the 100th anniversary out here, and we're going to have past kids and counselors, service groups that have been involved with Easter seals. And that's why I mentioned if you guys would love to come out, it would be great to have you guys out here, see all the updates and see everything, and possibly even see some people that you knew.
Great. We'll pass that on to President-elect Rick, who will have charge of our programs as of that time. Thanks, Stacey. Very helpful.
We just received our invitations to send out, so I'll be sending that over soon.
Jim Belton.
I think one of the first times John and I ever went out to Wood Eden. It was one of those family gatherings, but we had good fun playing baseball with the kids out there. Fun watching the wheelchairs run around the bases and people with crutches running around the bases. And they usually beat us. I don't know how that happened.
Well, I've seen John golf, so I can understand how it happened.
We were golfers, not baseball players, Jim.
Yeah. Okay, one last chance. Any further questions? Jan.
Yes, I just wondered if anybody else remembers. I remember the gatherings we did for several years called Christmas in July, where we had a picnic and a campfire outside with the children. And we had a Santa Claus who was George Stewart. Nobody but me was there.
Oh, no, we had a number of those.
Yeah.
Jan, I don't know whether Stacey knows about them or not.
Well, I know that I've seen pictures of Christmas in July, and I didn't know if that was through you guys or if it was just something that our counselors did for the kids, because we had them running around as reindeer pulling kids in the chairs, and then there was people dressed up as Santa Claus and elves and whatnot. So that could have been from one of your picnics, but I actually send out a letter usually in the winter for Christmas, and I use all those pictures.
And Jan will remember we always had a Christmas function. Our club put on a Christmas thing for the kids, and those were the days when it actually relate to our caseload, so that each of our club members was assigned a family, and we would bring the child to our Christmas dinner where we were entertained by Santa Claus and magicians and other things. And it was a wonderful way in which we could connect with the kids out of the summer season. So we had Christmas in December as well as in July.
I think Christmas should be every month myself, but that's just me.
Well, Harry, if you wouldn't mind, Sean. Oh, Harry's got a question, and this is the last question, and afterwards, Harry, share that certificate on the screen, please.
Yeah, and Stacey, and you did mention it in your presentation, but I just wanted our club members to know that the connection to Wood Eden was relatively recently resumed in a bit more substantial manner when the whole district's youth exchange committee started holding our interview and training conferences for the youth exchange program back at Camp Wood Eden. A lot of reasons. One is it's so strategically located nicely in the center of the geographic area, and especially now we're cooperating with the two districts to our west, based in Essex and Chatham, Kent, and of course they're international with Michigan as well. So it's just a really nice way to get back to Camp Wood Eden and resume in just one way that long time relationship between the two. And it's always good to go back to Camp Wood Eden for those. The facilities are just excellent, the kitchen and all the rest. And within our club, we have a lot of youth exchange leaders. Rick is one, and Don Bork, Randy Harden, myself, and others have been really involved over the years. So we're really well represented there. So let me just do what Rick just asked, and there we are. We'll go from there.
Well, Stacey and Howard in spirit, because I don't believe he did sign in.
He just walked in right now.
Oh, he just walked in. Well, he's going to get some of this recognition then. In recognition of your presentation to the Rotary Club of London, a contribution has been made to the Polio Plus campaign of the Rotary Foundation to immunize 50 infants against polio.
Oh,
because
wonderful.
of you, Rotary is one step closer to a polio-free world.
That's great.
Yeah. So we will have this mailed out to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, before we do have some announcements, but before we start that, I wanted to mention that we did have one other visitor join our meeting today. Marion Rogers, who is a member of the Rotary Club in Mexico. It's the Rotary Club of Bahia de Jaltemba. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, Marion. She has advised me that she doesn't have a mic, so she can't speak to us, but she is going to send me an email for me to refer. She's doing a project in Mexico right now, and I think she wants to present it to our club. So I'll refer that on to our World Community Services Committee once I receive her email. So welcome, Marion. Delighted you could join us and so in your email, let me know how long you're going to be here, because our next meeting isn't until June the 27th, which is an in-person meeting. And it's an evening meeting, and it's, as I say, in person. So we have a dinner with it. Okay. Now, announcements. I'd like to invite Keith Morrow to start off with the announcements, and Howard will need, or Harry, I should say, will need Keith to be able to share his screen.
I'm sharing from my computer 4 of about a dozen pictures that we received from our partners in Mexico, finalizing, and it's literally finalizing the first phase of our furniture replacement project of the school children's desks and chairs at the Paul Harris School. One of the things that we did in phase 1 is we got a district grant, and some of the validation of the expenditures and so forth is tedious, but here's a case of a picture tells 1,000 words or whatever, saves time. This is our vendor. They're backing up the truck to the Paul Harris School. And these are our partner Rotarians in the club that we're working with down there, unloading 42 double children desks and 82 chairs in phase 1. The next phase will be 60 and 120. And there they are in a classroom. This is the classrooms are used in 2 shifts a day because the school can't handle the number of kids. But this is the grade 1 through 3 desks and chairs. And our next phase that we hope to start in July is grades 4 through 6 plus some teachers' desks. And anybody that is a Mexican speaker reader there, including Marion, who can't confirm this because she has no microphone, will say that the signage says, "Thank you, Rotary, for donating furniture." So that's the story. The further story is that phase two is a larger amount for us, as there are more desks and chairs and the kids are bigger, and we're including teachers' desks in there. So if you want to support this project, we're looking for donations to this Rural Community Service Project that all will be tax receipted through the foundation. If you'd like to be a sponsor for a single desk and 2 chairs, it's $145 Canadian. The bigger item is a teacher desk, which is $415. This is all kind of documented in the ECOG and can be transferred to Sandy in the e-transfer mechanism that's available to all members. And of course, that'll go to the foundation and get you a tax receipt. So anybody have any questions about our Paul Harris School furniture replacement project? You've heard me talking about this a lot, and it's been in the COG quite consistently.
Keith, Marion asked in the chat the town and the state in Mexico where the project is.
I'll let one of the other members say that because I will murder it. It's in the. Can one of the other members chime in on that? It's Marion. It's in southwest Mexico, and if you would feed to Rick Coates an email communications, I'll feed you the details.
Thanks, Keith. You want to comment on bingo now?
Sure. This couple Mondays ago, the bingo committee of Keith, John Stewart, Jim Swan, and Randy Harden staffed a bingo. This is our second back to normal kind of bingo. And we made a contribution to the pool that we'll share kind of monthly of about $5,000. It was a successful night, and we look forward to getting back on stream with this, very important and consistent fundraiser activity for the club. So it should earn us, if we can get back on stream, something in the range of $8,000 to $10,000 a year.
Thank you, Keith. Diane, do you have an announcement regarding the London Food Bank?
I sure do. So we have our scheduled date is Wednesday, June 22nd, 6:30 to 8, and there's still about 3 or 4 spots left if anybody wants to come out and join us. And I also was just curious, did anybody sign up for the grocery store food bank volunteering? That wasn't managed through myself. It was to be directly through Marianne at the food bank, but I'm just not to put anybody on the spot, but just curious if anybody is doing a grocery store food bank evening.
Perhaps you may want to follow up with the membership, Diane, by sending out a club runner note asking anybody that signed up to respond to you and let them know.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I was just curious.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody else have an announcement to make for the benefit of the club and Rotary service? So here's the some reminders for the upcoming week. Our next meeting is going to be June the 27th. It's the dinner at the Highland Golf and Country Club, and it's our changeover meeting. The old board is congratulated, and the new board is welcomed and sworn in at that meeting for the Rotary year 2022-23. Satellite Club meeting, changeover meeting is on Tuesday, June the 21st. Our next board meeting is this Wednesday, June the 15th at 5 p.m. And another reminder, the cocktail hour is Tuesdays at 5 p.m. and the coffee clutch is Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. So then our next meeting schedule, just as a reminder again, if you have that slide, Harry. Anyway, the upcoming meetings. Here's I want to remind everybody about the if you want to make a donation to support the situation in Ukraine, we can donate to the Rotary Foundation, the disaster response for Ukraine. There's a specific fund established for that. Or you can donate to Shelter Box, which is a Rotary partner. And finally, there is the London Ukrainian Center that is accepting donations as well. So all three of those are ways you can make a contribution to help those poor people in Ukraine.
May I mention one thing regarding Ukraine?
Go ahead, Rashad.
I just want to say that PI Homes is actually currently working in Ukraine for rebuilding infrastructure. And Sammy Bardawheel's currently there now helping manage the work. So I was intending to go there with him as well, but someone needs to hold it down here. So he's currently heroically there for himself. So
okay,
just thought I'd share that.
Thank you very much, Rashad. Next meeting is June 27th. In the month of July, we have no meeting on July the 4th, but we do have a virtual Zoom meeting on Monday at noon, July the 11th. And then we're quickly following that with our July in-person meeting on Monday, July the 18th. And the reason it's coming up back-to-back weeks is we don't have, the facility isn't available on July the 25th. So is there anything else? Okay, as I close this meeting, remember our theme this year in Rotary is to go out and serve to change lives. I now terminate this meeting. Thank you all for joining us.